Om Lokaha Samastaha Suki no Bhavantu. May all beings be happy and peaceful. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Phoenix here. It is Sunday, March 12th. This is in lieu of my Monday morning stream because we have seen some dramatic price action. It is continuing actually as I'm recording this video. And so I wanted to give you a quick update. I'm currently flat. I don't have any positions in crypto, at least. I considered taking longs earlier in the day, but I didn't because I was not trusting Sunday price action. So far, I wouldn't say I regret that, but my intuition was telling me that there could be a lot of volatility, obviously, coming up this week. And it's almost like an extended FOMC that we've seen here. I will get into the charts in just a moment, but first, if you want to spend time away from all of this madness in Costa Rica with me this summer, then you should check out the link in the description below. And it's going to be an incredible retreat. If you want to learn more about trading, check out my website, 𝐷eFiMagic.com. So what's going on? What is this about? Could it be that those that were sidelined in stable coins really just started to go all in on crypto once they realized that banks were failing? It's possible. Is it that this is what Bitcoin was designed to do and it's finally playing out? It's possible. I don't want to rule it out. Definitely don't want to rule that out. And it's actually very ironic because this is 3 years since the anniversary of one of the biggest daily candles in Bitcoin's history during COVID, March 12th, 2020. So very ironic, it seems. And we actually saw the move that I was anticipating where we came back down to the mid of the January candle. We did come back down and tested it and then bounced off of it. And also in favor of bulls, okay? We did come back down and successfully retest the 200 moving average. Is that the 200 moving? Let me just double check that. Yeah, so the 200 daily moving average just was tested beautifully, bounced off, okay? And also in favor of bulls is we just had a deviation, and this is a Morningstar formation here. We had a deviation, Morningstar formation back inside. Could it push higher? Usually it does, technically speaking. It could. I'm okay sitting this out right now because something feels off here. And it's just like with this rally, something felt really off. Something feels a little bit off about this. And of course, if it wasn't for SVB and the fate of the banking system sort of hanging in the balance and the Fed considering their bailout plan or whatever they want to call it, then I would probably have already gone long on, at least on Ethereum. But I waited because, well, first of all, it's very confusing because the USDT chart looks different than the USD chart. And you see we're much higher here for USD. And it's been varying by $400 to $600 on the hour. And that's pretty frustrating to trade that because I use a platform where we trade in USDT. And so I'm not sure whether I should be focusing on the USD or the USDT. And this hasn't really happened, at least not recently. So I've been sitting this out. Now we've seen the total market cap increase by 6% today, just in the last few hours, actually. And it just seems to want to continue to go higher and higher. And the question is, will it go higher? What are the targets? Well, I showed you here. I haven't explained it yet, but you can see here, it may just continue all the way up to 25K and beyond. It might do that. I don't want to rule that out. It's already really pushing up. We're looking at 22,500 as the next target, and then 23,300, and then 24, just under 24, and then 24,750, somewhere around 24,700 as the mid, 25,200 as the next target from there. So conservative longs could enter, not conservative, aggressive at this point because there's already been a strong move, and take profits along the way. I'm not going to do that. I'm okay sitting this out. I am not feeling FOMO right now. There was a time when I would have, but I'm okay because we're back inside a range, and it was a choppy range for a long time. And I am also looking for very specific patterns. So the breakout that we saw today would have normally qualified for me. And you could see this would have been my entry here. After a breakout on the 15-minute here, this was actually the trigger, and I was watching all of these candles, but I just didn't feel right about it. Now, maybe I'm completely wrong and it just continues to 30K, or maybe it just dumps all the way back down into this range again. We won't really know until tomorrow. We won't really know until the week starts to pan out. And so I would say at this point for me, forget about the alts. I'm not interested in the alts because I don't have clarity on Ethereum and Bitcoin. If they're not giving me, they're my compass. So if I don't understand what they're doing, then I'm definitely not going to understand the alts. And I know that there's a lot of money to be made in alts, and some of them, like Lido, just is pumping 17% today. Injective has been just going crazy. I think it's up in the last few days. How much has, since the bottom here, it's up 42%. And so this is the nature of the beast. We went over short setups in this and it actually triggered it here, but then it failed to break down, probably would have been stopped out. And then we see a double top and then a very clear sort of breakdown and then immediately push back up. So this is not really rational. Like this is, again, it's the symptom of an illiquid market. So I think that the altcoins are out of the question for me, with the exception of maybe Matic and Phantom, because they're larger caps. And Matic, again, I watched it break into this channel again, but I just didn't feel comfortable longing it for whatever reason. And so sometimes I just have to follow that. And if I'm wrong, it's okay. But Ethereum really has been strong relative to Bitcoin. If you look ETH BTC, and actually look at how bizarre this is. I mean, this is a 15-minute candle. It literally just rejected that strong on a 15-minute candle. This just doesn't feel right. You know, it just doesn't. It feels like that rally that we saw that just kept going. And I kept saying, you know, this isn't retail here. Whatever's going on right here. And so really trying to track those whales right now, it's been difficult, but Ethereum just broke above, filled in this entire gap. We're also in the, and again, I don't even know exactly which chart I should be showing you guys because, I mean, they're similar, right? What happened to all my levels? Let me pull up the levels here on this. They're similar. But we had the deviation back inside, so there's nothing really stopping Ethereum from going to 1677, and then maybe somewhere up here around 1730, and then possibly 1787. So that would be like near-term long targets. And then if it clears this, that would be if Bitcoin gets above 25,200 and really starts to hold above, as we mentioned, possible max pain scenario. It's possible. I just want to present that to you so that if you are positioning long, then maybe something to consider, right? Not financial advice. But alts are out of the question. Matic has come up back inside here. This could just be a really vicious short squeeze, honestly. It could be. And it could be done tomorrow. It could take a little bit longer than that. So I would lean more towards that scenario. But there's just no way for me to know for sure. And so if Matic, for instance, starts to push up, next target, let's just bring this down and see where would we be targeting. Obvious target for me would be, I'd probably target somewhere in here, this little zone here, and then somewhere up at around 130, 1.306. And then eventually this would be that deviation outside of the larger channel. So then eventually possibly somewhere in the mid here, right around 139, 13986, and then all the way up to 14644. But I would probably be more aggressive in taking profits down beneath this 1.3084 if I was already in this trade. Also would consider potentially getting into this trade if it came back and retested, but I don't want to do anything right now until I'm clear on Ethereum. So, I mean, it could do this, and that would be your long trigger there. Definitely would be a long trigger for Matic. But some of these like Injective, I would not long this where it is. I would rather just wait and see and let it get as extreme as it wants. This still does look like, from a daily perspective, it still does look like it could just be a dirty retest, dead cat sort of bounce, and then falls much further from there. But Ethereum and Bitcoin, to their credit, they did come back down to the January mid, and then they found support at the 200 moving average on the daily. Okay, so Ethereum came slightly lower, but it still found support there eventually. And that's usually bullish in any market. But like I said, we have to take the larger context into account, and we are very much still range bound. So it's still a range until proven otherwise. But I'm looking for momentum. So I'm looking for it to really show its hand. And some would say it already has. I'm okay if it continues this way. I'm okay if it does this and then starts to consolidate for a few days. I need some sort of a consolidation, kind of like what we saw here, but during the week, some sort of a consolidation and then a breakdown, and ideally a swift breakdown, and there would be the trigger, and then I would go large on that for Ethereum, and that would probably be my focus, because Ethereum is still overbought relative to Bitcoin right now. It's also more volatile, so stops would have to be wider on this one. So it is a little bit of a trade-off. It depends on which one is clearer and which one is stronger when the time comes. But that's what I'm waiting for, and I'm okay waiting a few days or a week or longer if need be, and not just jumping in on a Sunday evening before all the drama really starts to play out next week. Just remember that anytime markets are risk off, the first to sell off is tech. And so if you think like Silicon Valley Bank, they were for tech startups. And so even if there is a backstop put in place, it's not going to save the bank. It's just going to save deposits for, it's not going to really change the bigger picture. And so I think that tech stocks will likely continue to sell off, but there's no way to know for sure, because sometimes we see things that it seems logically like it should be a certain way, but then the market decides it wants to do something else. So like ES right now, it's just opened 38 minutes ago. It's up 1.24% right now. And that's pretty significant. Like, it's finding support down at this level, at this 3,900 level here. It's bounced off it pretty strongly. So looking to see now, where was the monthly? Now, if it gets back above the monthly, then we could be back all the way revisiting this 4173 for ES, and the S&P 500 coming back up again, which would mean that, again, that would be further support for Bitcoin, Ethereum going higher. But it's just really choppy and really hard to read, and I totally can empathize with you if you've had a hard time with this. I did great last week. This weekend, not so good, but it's okay. There will be better days. Being careful not to let a bias get in the way. Here's a monthly open for Ethereum, 1640. We're headed towards it. So on the monthly, very interesting candle on the monthly for both Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. And I guess I'll just use this chart, the USD chart. I mean, another doji, but potentially very strong rejection here. And this just happened today, right? That's crazy, right? But then there's nothing keeping it from either pushing up much higher or coming and filling this wick once again. And we just don't know right now. And I mentioned early in the year, I said, expect 2023 to be extremely volatile. Well, we're in the heart of it right now. And so protect your capital and only take trades where you feel high conviction. And so that's why I'm sitting out for now. But if I do take trades, I will share them in C3, and I will also maybe put some hints on Twitter as well. So I hope that you found this video helpful. It's actually been, to be honest with you, it's been a struggle making these videos, because I've had some life stuff that I've been dealing with, and also because it's just, I'm not even going to give you all the reasons, but it's just been more difficult than usual to make these videos. So I really do hope that you find them helpful. And if you do, please give me some love in the comments, maybe like the video. because it just keeps me going. I'm not one of those accounts with hundreds of thousands of followers where people are just constantly like, you know, buffering my ego. It's like, so when I do get that, it's not like I want that, but I'm sure it makes it easier when you have that. And so any kind of support right now is really appreciated. And I really appreciate your support and watching these videos all the way through. So have a beautiful rest of your day.